This is Hillary Kramer, the Millionaire Maker, and we are back with Steve Moore, economist, who has given us such great insight and is part of this show in keeping everybody secure and safe with your wallet and understanding the future, which at this point there's a lot of unknowns. Let's just go over the stock market. Um, Year to date, which is the same as month to date, the Dow is down at this point on the year, and even the S&P is down. Interesting, the Russell 2000 is up 7%. Those are the smaller cap stocks that, include the entire market. But talking with Steve, we really have to revisit what will happen with the Federal Reserve and can we come back? Is it possible? There's been such a schism created. I read that billionaires have made 26% increase in their wealth since the pandemic started, and just one billionaire could pay for everybody's vaccine in this country. What, we don't usually talk about, you know, the bigger macro picture, right? But we have to at this point, Steve. What's your thought on what's going to happen in this country? Are we going to have a war? Are we going to have a civil war?
Are you talking about the Fed or
I'm
just
talking
about?
about those that have and those that have not, right?
Well, I think
The Fed in trying to save Main Street, starting, with Bernanke in 2008, 2009, wanted to save Main Street. By saving Main Street, all they ended up doing was giving money to the banks so the banks could get it out there. And instead, the banks gave it to private equity funds and venture capital funds and big investors and real estate investors. And
mhm,
money begot money. And those
yes.
that didn't have money have less money, although the economy did well enough that they were able to go on vacation or live on credit. But where are we now? Are we looking at like falling off
Yes.
the cliff or can we keep going?
Well, there is a bit of soak the rich sentiment out there right now. I don't like it, Hillary. You know me. I want everybody to be rich. I don't want to make the rich poor. I want to make the poor richer. And one of the things that I find troubling is I think that people should be invested in the market. You know, I mean, you want to get rich in this country, investing is the way to do it. That's why people listen to your show every week, Hillary. Right? This is how you get rich. It's a great country, and it's you just if you don't know anything about stocks, I like index funds because I think you're betting on America, and there's not betting on America over the last 100 years has been a good bet, right, Hillary? So.
That's true. That's true.
I'm a big believer in the power of compound interest. I love the idea of people putting their money in the market and be patient. That's the other thing. I think that people need to be patient in these investments. You're going to have ups and downs. My wife is one of these people, Hillary, who looks at the returns every day. It drives me crazy. We made
Well,
2,000, we lost 3,000. It's like, and you're going to kind of get motion sickness if you do that. But I like the market for the long term. Stocks for the long run is one of the most important principles of investing. Stocks for the short term, I don't like it. So stocks for the long term, I do. You're betting on America. That's my point. If you're betting on the Nasdaq, if you're betting on the Dow companies, and the Russell, the small businesses, you're betting on the future of America. And all I can tell you, Hillary's an economist. That's been a pretty darn good bet for the last 100 years.
bingo. I mean, I'm with you 100%. And the point that we both are making is that those that don't think long term, that don't
Right.
realize bet on America over time and that we are the strongest and we are the best, they're playing a game. Like this is a casino or they're betting on sports. And that's what really concerns me. And I just hope everyone who's listening can just take the advice or give the advice. Sell. You don't make money until you take money off the table. If
Right.
you until you take it off, you haven't made the money, and people are just rolling money into the next bet and the next bet and the next bet, and we can really end up getting slammed that way. Can we talk and change locations to California, where I was last week? I was in
Yeah.
Southern California on business. Why are people leaving? What is going on there? San Francisco, I find that I can't leave a hotel because the homeless are such a bad situation. People are leaving, businesses are leaving. What's your opinion on California?
California is the ultimate story of rich and poor. It really is. And you've got Silicon Valley that has so much money and so many billionaires living in that area, and they built the technology revolution. But now what you're seeing And I think Elon Musk is an example of that, who has moved to, I believe he moved to Austin, Texas, and Austin, Texas, is becoming the little sister of Silicon Valley in terms of being a technology corridor. And so I think what the problem is very simple, Hillary. You know me. I don't like high taxes. I don't like high regulation. I don't like high cost of living. Yeah, I don't like all the rules, the shutdowns that happen in California. By the way, the good news is since you left, they're starting to finally open up some things in California. But
I left at the wrong time. It was
yeah, you left
horrible.
at the wrong
It was
time.
horrible.
But
We had to eat our dinner, our high-end fancy dinner in the car, which doesn't really lend itself to preventing COVID spread anyway. But I do hear that California is open back up, which would be great. But like you have to wonder, San Diego Zoo closed. When you see these places closed, SeaWorld, who so many people are not making money, and the economy, it just really concerns me. And talking about jobs, I have to ask this. In our last segment you mentioned the Keystone Pipeline. Would you mind explaining, because you're the best at it, Steve, what's the implications? Are there really jobs that are going to be lost? I hear all these numbers that are thrown out. I trust your input.
we don't know exactly how many jobs will be impacted by this. I would say somewhere in the 5 to 10,000 range, and that's a lot. That's a lot of, and those are high-paying jobs. I've spent a lot of time in the oil patch. I wrote a book on the oil industry called Fueling Freedom, and those states like Oklahoma, North Dakota, and Texas. And Louisiana really got rich off the shale revolution. And people were making, you had truck drivers and hard hat construction workers making $100,000 a year during the heyday. Uh, I think it was a mistake for Joe Biden to do that. I think we need the infrastructure. We need the pipelines. It's so interesting. I'm going to give you an amazing statistic, Hillary, for you and your listeners.
Hmm.
In November of 2020, do you know how much oil we imported from Saudi Arabia?
How much?
Zero. It was the first time in 50 it was the
That's
first time in
great.
50 years that we actually imported no oil from Saudi Arabia. Think about what it was like in the 70s. You are old enough to remember when Saudi Arabia had that blade to our neck. We've become energy independent, and I just don't want to see us give that up. We've got to keep producing our oil, gas, coal, wind power, nuclear power, because energy is the master resource. And we don't want to be dependent on Saudi Arabia. We don't want to be dependent on Russia or OPEC. We want to be selling this stuff, not buying it. So I'm all in on energy. I hope that Biden takes a more rational approach of saying, let's use our natural gas, let's use our nuclear power. It's a great form of energy that doesn't emit pollution. And we got a lot of oil and we got clean coal. I think we should continue to produce American energy in states from West Virginia to Texas.
Okay, amen on that. And let's hope the Keystone Pipeline, maybe that can be turned around now that
Hope
Biden
so.
has canceled that. Steve Moore, thanks for joining us. We'll be talking with you next week. Hillary Kramer, the Millionaire Maker.